Hello there, Maul Shadow Lord has finally had its first public showing with the teaser trailer that came out this morning, and it's looking pretty good. We saw a different trailer back in April at Star Wars Celebration in Japan. This trailer was much better. The one that we saw in Japan was certainly tailored around a reveal. It was building to the announcement of who the show was for. Like, Maul didn't show up till like halfway through that trailer. So this one acts much better as a first look to the general public. Now we see a lot of old and new characters in this trailer, so we're going to go through them and talk about them, speculate just a little bit, and yeah, let's get to it. Let's dive into Maul Shadow Lord. Obviously, Maul is coming back. Spoilers, in case you weren't aware, as he is the titular character of this show. The show starts about a year after the Clone Wars, and we're going to see Maul on the planet of Janix, which is outside of Imperial control at the moment. How long that's going to stay the case, who knows? Maul is of course going to be voiced again by Sam Witwer, who has been playing the character for around 15 years now. Sam Witwer is great, he knows his shit, and he is fantastic as Maul, and Palpatine as well in the Clone Wars. But yeah, I'm excited as hell to have him back in the role of Maul, and to be the lead of a show. I think it's going to be seeing a different perspective, seeing the world through Maul's eyes, from his point of view. I'm really excited for that. It seems like Maul is going to be coming in and trying to rebuild his criminal syndicate, the Shadow Collective, potentially with the help of one Rook Kast. Now, Rook Kast, played here by Vanessa Marshall, who is returning from the Clone Wars Season 7. She was a part of his Shadow Collective and led the Super Commandos in the Siege of Mandalore, after which I believe she was captured. It's not really on screen. We see Gar Saxon get led away. I don't know if we really see what happens to Rook, but we see her in the trailer here, so we know that she's going to be in this show. Again, it's about a year after the Clone Wars. Maybe she escaped captivity, maybe she escaped Mandalore before being captured. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how she shows up and what role she'll play going forward. So we know Maul, we know Rook. The Inquisitors are also going to be playing a part in this series. We have two of them back this time, with Marrok, who has been confirmed to be the first brother. We know that now. And alongside Marrok is going to be the 11th brother. Now, the canon status of the 11th brother is, to me, an absolute mess. The design of that character appears in Tales of the Jedi, and people assumed that that was the sixth brother from the Ahsoka novel, but apparently that was not the case, but it was the case. Filoni said that the Tales of the Jedi episode is the same version of events in the novel Ahsoka, or it was intended to be. So that means that it is the sixth brother, but it's not the 11th brother. I have no idea. I am so confused around this. Wikipedia treats them as different. I know Wikipedia is not an official source, but they treat it as different. I don't know. I honestly do not know. Apparently, Ahsoka had two very, very similar confrontations with two different Inquisitors, the 11th and 6th brother. Don't ask me, I have no idea. It is needlessly messy. I have no idea what they were thinking with this. They even put out in the encyclopedia where they got the number wrong for the Inquisitors. They called the 11th brother the first brother at some point, but the first brother is actually Marrok, but the 11th brother is also the 6th brother, but the 6th brother is not actually the 11th brother. It is a goddamn mess, and I'm tired of trying to make sense of it. So in this show, we're going to call them Marrok, and we're going to call them the 11th brother. And that's it. They are both in this show, and we can assume that they are hunting down Maul. What we hear in the trailer, I assume, is Marrok talking to Maul, saying that the Emperor wants him dead. Now, we also see Marrok get cut down by Maul, but we know that he is not dead because he goes on to appear in Ahsoka, which is set many years after Maul Shadow Lord. This makes me believe that we may potentially get another character appear in Maul Shadow Lord that was not in this trailer, and that would be one Morgan Elsbeth. Now, this is just my speculation at this point, but they already have the character model for Morgan Elsbeth as she appeared in Tales of the Empire. We see that Marrok is some sort of undead husk thing in Ahsoka when he is taken out by Ahsoka on Cetos. Will we see this transformation into that form by Morgan. The reason I say it will be Morgan to do it is because she is a Night Sister. They have a habit of reanimating the dead. Also, Marrok is named from Arthurian legend, one of the Knights of the Round Table who was turned into a werewolf. Wolf theme, wolf motif. Filoni loves his wolves. And depending on which version of the story you read, the one that turns him into a werewolf was either Morgan Le Fay or an agent of hers who is also a witch. So Morgan Le Fay, Morgan Elsbeth, Marrok, Wolf, it's all coming together. So I think after Marrok is slain by Maul, we could potentially see Morgan Elsbeth come in and do some sort of Night Sister magic to bring Marrok back, and that will sort of lead into how he shows up in Ahsoka, essentially. That's my loose theory, anyway. But that's the existing characters that we've seen in the trailer, except for Morgan Elsbeth, which is a guess speculation on my part. I do have speculation on one more character that could show up, and it would probably be at the very end of the show, and that is Darth Vader. Why Darth Vader? In Rebels, Maul has a line where he says something like, "I can't fight Vader alone."
Why are you working so hard to keep us here?
I cannot defeat Vader alone.
That is one of those lines that gives you a little bit of wiggle room to play around with and expand on. Did Maul already face Vader at that point and lose? They actually fought in a comic book at one point called Star Wars Tales. This was back in the early 2000s, I want to say. My memory's a little bit foggy on it. All I remember is that they had the boxing fight comic cover for one of them, which I thought was really fun. So we could potentially get that fight realized on screen and see Vader take on Maul, and Maul lose, essentially. Not killed, obviously, but lose. And that's why in Rebels he's like, I can't take Vader on alone, because he's already fought him. That's just another theory from me. Whether it's not right or not, I have no idea. But we've got some new characters on the way, the first of which is not Darth Talon, at least yet, but rather Devon Izara. I am working on a theory video about her and a potential future, maybe. It is almost complete nonsense and very, 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 very unlikely to happen. But it's just speculation of tying her character to Darth Talon in a very fan servicey way, if I'm being 100% honest. But that'll be out once I sort of figure out what I'm actually saying and actually, film it. On StarWars.com, though, Devon Izara is described on the run from the Empire. Devon Izara is conflicted, living in hiding to survive in challenging times. She must adapt and accept a future far different than the one she expected for herself. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, but yeah, this is definitely going to be a young Talon. She's got the red skin and everything. She's actually pinkish purple. It's just that light in that scene that makes her appear red. So she's not actually red. So she's not red. She doesn't have the black tattoos all over her as well. Maybe that could happen in the future. We'll see. But we know that Maul is going to be a mentor to Devon, and we're going to see how Maul will tutor her, because he's no longer a Sith. He's definitely not a Jedi. So it'll be interesting to see the sort of way he goes about this. How does Maul train a student outside of the Jedi and outside of the Sith? I think that could be very interesting, and seeing their dynamic could be very fun. We do see Devon with a lightsaber at one point, so we know she is a Jedi, and I believe that this is her master in the trailer as we see him use the Force to flip this transport, and I think he is the one wielding a lightsaber in a quick shot in another scene. I believe that this is Master, stick with me on this one, Iko Diodaki. Iko Diodaki. I think that's going to be how it's pronounced. And this is going to be voiced by Dennis Haysbert. This is purely an educated guess on my part based on the trailer. I think we'll see him hunted down towards the beginning of this show, and that's when Devon is taken in by Maul after the fact. Next up is Captain Brander Lawson, voiced by Wagner Moura, who voiced Wolf or Death in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Another incredibly good animation project that you should watch if you haven't. Lawson is a police detective on Janix. He has a son named Riley, who is voiced by Charlie Bushnell from the Percy Jackson TV series. I think this might be him in the trailer, I'm not sure. He is going to be accompanied by Two-Boots, Lawson's police droid companion, voiced by Richard Ayoade. He is here as well. He has already voiced Zero from The Mandalorian. He's set to be in the upcoming Fable game coming out later this year as well. So he's returning to voice another droid here. I'm excited to hear his voice again. I think he's just got one of those very unique, funny voices. I enjoy hearing it. They did talk about some other characters that we didn't really see in the trailer, or at least I don't know if we saw it in the trailer. A character called Lutivario, voiced by Chris. I am going to butcher this. I am so sorry, sir. Diamantopoulos. I'm sorry, sir. Not sure who this character is in the trailer, but he is someone that has done the voice of Mickey Mouse in a lot of recent stuff for Disney, and he did the voice of the droid Monk in Jedi Survivor. Spybot, David C. Collins, not really any information on him, and Icarus, voiced by Steve Blum, who I think is one of the big guys in this scene. This character was talking a lot in the original trailer that we saw at Celebration, and I thought it sort of sounded like Steve Blum at the time, so I think that this is that character. Not really 100% sure on that, not going to bet the farm on it or anything, so don't take my word for it, but I think that that is the character of Icarus, voiced by Steve Blum. Not really much else. We get to see some walkers, Star Destroyers, we do get to see TK troopers in this trailer, which is really cool. I'm very excited for this show. I'm not sure, but everything I've been reading about this show, the way people are talking about them, 2 episodes a week for 5 weeks, finishing up on May 4th after 10 episodes. I don't know if it's just me, but this is feeling like a one and done to me. I feel like this is potentially not going to be an ongoing series, and this may just be a limited run. I say that with no evidence, and I'm basing that on vibes only at the moment. But just the way everything's being presented to me, I feel like this could be a limited series. I am sort of speculating on that because they said back at Celebration that this was taking place 1 year after the Clone Wars, and then I've heard another source say, oh, it's going over several years after the Clone Wars, so are we going to see a lot of time jumps in this? They did say that this show was going to be heavily serialized, so maybe, maybe not. I can't really tell at this point, but just I have a feeling that it could be a one and done, and I don't know that for certain. It's just, again, I'm going off vibes. Let me know what you think though. But as I said, April 6th this comes out. I'm just very much looking forward to it. I didn't think that this show would be coming this soon. I thought that this would be coming out after Mandalorian and Grogu in May. I thought they'd want to be focusing all on that and then have Maul afterwards. We've got the prequel comic starting up in March, I think. That'll be really cool to sort of set the groundwork for the show. And yeah, just rewatching the trailer, it's a damn good trailer. It's a damn good trailer. I know a lot of people are like annoyed that we're not going into new eras. I'd love to go into new eras as well. I want to go post episode 9 and I want to go way back from episode 1. But hey, 2 things can be true at once. I can want them to explore new eras and still enjoy them exploring these more known quantities, I guess. And while they've kept that Clone Wars animation style that they have through all the other Tales and Bad Batch series and that, they've done a lot of more stylized stuff with it this time around. They talked about doing older school animation tricks, painting on glass and inserting them into the frames and sort of stuff like that. Looks really cool, that scene. The lightsabers, they look like a little bit more unstable, a little bit more crackly, very, very vibrant, sorry. I love the look of it. It just looks that little bit more fantastical, in my opinion. Sometimes the older Clone Wars stuff can look very, very stiff. This looks a lot more fluid. The facial animations look a lot better. I think the lighting just looks very interesting. It's like almost high contrast, high color. I really, really like the vibe of the show just from this small trailer that we've seen. And I'm massively looking forward to this. I can't lie. But that's going to do it for me. I'm going to go work on that stupid Talon Devon theory that I've got cooking up, which it's bad. Trust me, it's bad. It's like the most fan service thing that you could think of. But yeah, we'll see how that comes together. Anyway, that'll do it for me for now. Yeah, Maul Shadow Lord, April 6th. Got a couple of months to go till we get there, but prequel comic starting up in March. That'll be fun. Yeah, make sure you follow me here and over on TikTok. I love talking about Star Wars. Especially when we get new trailers to talk about, so it's a lot of fun to dive through them. Anyway, that'll do it for me. Again, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you, always.